Hello, everyone. Hello. Happy Monday. I think I just have to say that. Hey, Brother Nance, happy Monday. So we are here again each and every Monday, 7 p.m., bringing you some of the best topics of all times. Last week, we were talking about the crime. And then we kind of I don't want to even say linked it, but we kind of began talking about the schools and then, COVID in schools, right? And so we are here with kind of a second part. We will have our special guest on this evening. Dr. Kyle Berkley is coming back. I love the feel of the three parts and the three, just kind of that view of things. It was really a good dynamic segment last week, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was shared. It was a lot of interaction, and we wanted to make this part two talk about schools reopening with this COVID and this new variant. Is it safe? Is it safe for our students? But we have some pros here. We have some of the experts here today, as I stated, Dr. Kyle Berkley, and he has a sister that will be joining us shortly. She's a teacher, and she can give us some insight as well. But we wanted to know what is needed to make this be a successful and safe, productive school year. So that's what we're here for. I want everyone to make sure that they tune in, interact, engage, and share this video. So I'm here with our co-host, Brother Nance. Look at that. Producer came right on it. So yes, Brother Nance, happy Monday. And are you ready to dive into schools? Reopening with this COVID, with the crime, like everything. It's just so much. But we're going to be opening up this Monday. Well, next Monday, I should say. Are the students ready?
Of course not.
Okay. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. So we have with us.
I don't think no one's ready. I don't think no one's ready. I don't think teachers ready. The school system ain't ready. I don't think.
Yes. So listen, what we decided to do last week, Brother Nance is the one who initiated. We're not going to talk about the problems. We're going to give solutions. Solutions this particular day. So we have with us Dr. Kyle Berkley and Kyrissa, I hope I'm saying it correctly, Berkley. And so, he got the RTV shirt. Wait a minute. Hey!
I only had one of them shirts.
I got to get you one. Hello. Is it Kyrissa or Kyrissa?
Kyrissa.
Ah, okay. I was close.
Y'all are definitely related.
Yes, look just alike. So we have a sibling day. So we have a brother and sister. One is I just want to make sure I have the correct profession. So we have Kyle is going to have his background in mental health, and we have Kyrissa here. The background will be in education. She's a teacher, but I want both of them to kind of introduce themselves to our audience once again. So Dr. Kyle Berkley, could you go first? Just introduce a little short intro, and then I'm going to hand it over to your sister.
Let's see. My name is Dr. Kyle Berkley. I'm a mental health therapist. Been in this field since, give or take, 2003. Worked with the homeless. I've also worked with youth at crisis response and agencies like Hand to Hand in Baltimore, working with youth that were incarcerated, and also at Mountain Manor Treatment Center with youth with dual diagnosis of substance abuse and mental illness.
See, that's why I didn't want to mess it up. So, and then Kyrissa, could you introduce yourself so I won't mess you up?
Okay, my name is Kyrissa Berkley. I'm a fifth-year teacher for Baltimore City Public Schools. I teach 7th and 8th grade science.
Awesome. 7 and 8.
Don't tell us what school, because we're about to get.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Okay, so look, he's on the sofa today. So Brother Nance initiated this. So I don't, Kyrissa, you probably got that call last week. Hey, can we talk? We want to talk today about solutions. I know last week, parents, including myself, and still to this day, it's like 1 week away and we're getting ready, having an anxiety attack. So can you help us to kind of visualize how the first day or just the school year in general is going to look? What is needed to be mentally prepared for our students to be prepared, as well as parents. So we want to give solutions. We want to kind of help and leverage that. And then today we got we saw an article about the FDA approving this COVID vaccine. So we got a lot going on. Can we just dive in whatever way you want to go? But I just want to provide, this segment to be solution oriented. Whichever one would like to go first. And I would say, Kyrissa, I'm gonna put the spotlight on you as a teacher. Could you let us know just, and maybe parents in general, like how will that first day look? How will school in general look versus how it's been? What's going to be different?
Okay, well, I worked this summer for Baltimore City during a summer program. So we did like a dry run and expectations of how students will be coming in and out the building. So first they'll stop at a checkpoint. They'll get their temperature checked. They'll answer, I believe it's 3 questions to make sure they don't have any signs or symptoms of COVID. And then they'll proceed to the classroom. It went pretty smooth. We didn't have one case this summer at my school. We tested every week. Every child was mandatory testing. But the testing was nothing but like a Q-tip in your nose. You swab, I believe, like 5 times in each nose. I'm not too sure. I've had the vaccine, so teachers had the option of doing it or not doing it if you had the vaccine. I teach 7th and 8th graders, so at 12 years old, you can have the vaccine. So I'm not sure if they would still have to swab or not, the age group I teach. But it was pretty smooth this summer for the most part. Wasn't anything alarming. As far as I know, no cases were reported at the school I was at.
Now, was there a large amount of students in the school during the summer? Was it a nice amount,
We could have no more than 24 students in the classroom.
Okay.
And that was the limit.
Okay. So they kept the classroom small. And that's where the kind of, I would say what my question and concern would be, and then let's give a solution. But that was during the summer, smaller classroom sizes. Now it's going to be full-fledged, everyone is there. We already know before COVID, we had overcrowded classrooms. Do you know how that will actually look? Are they trying to break them up? Are they putting them in different pods? How does that work? Because some classes are definitely going to be over 20, at their max if they're going to be coming back. Is that normal?
That's a good question.
Okay. And that's okay. So I know that was one of the questions. And then also, I know you mentioned about the temperature check and the testing weekly. I will say that we had a meeting, a Zoom call, I would say, last week with PCAB. I would love to have them on next, but they had the director of operations on. They did confirm that there will be weekly testing, and then those that are vaccinated can bypass that. I just say, the concern would be if even those that are vaccinated are testing positive, how do we different, so I see Brother Nance is looking, and that, I guess that's what we don't know, but today changes a lot. I know the school board is having a meeting tomorrow, so there's a lot that you may not be able to answer, and that's fine, but we still want to just kind of talk about, like, what are those things that can kind of help the parents out, within that 1 week.
Well, 24 kids in a classroom is ideal. That would be the ideal classroom setting for even a teacher as myself. I wouldn't want any more than 24. But when I looked at my roster today, I'm going to have more than 24. Although that would be ideal to have between 18 and 24 students. But I believe it's a shortage of teachers everywhere. So the students have to go somewhere. So they're going to be pushed into those classes, and it's going to go up. The numbers will go up.
So you said there's a shortage of teachers. Is that why the classroom sizes are going to increase, possibly?
I'm 100% sure. Yeah, this is a shortage everywhere. It's not just in the city. That's a shortage everywhere. That's not just a Baltimore City problem. It's a shortage everywhere.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I was just wondering. That's one thing we didn't talk about is that shortage, so that's good that you actually said that, and something we could probably talk about as well. I would say, and I can probably direct this to Dr. Berkley. What are some things that we can help as far as mentally for like teachers that are kind of panicking, as well as parents, And I really don't know if the students are having that much of a panic versus the teachers and the parents. But could you help in that area with some solutions?
Like to alleviate anxiety with going back to school.
Yes.
First and foremost, don't talk to your friends about what's going on and what the solution is. Like, get the facts. Uh, we're dealing with a health pandemic. I really don't understand how somebody on your friends list can give you medical advice or expert advice if they're just talking about something that they heard from somebody else or something that they saw on YouTube. With somebody that doesn't have any credentials with dealing with an actual pandemic or dealing with an epidemic or anything health related. So the first and foremost, to alleviate any kind of anxiety is consult a medical professional. If you have somebody in school, hopefully they have a physician. So talk to them first. Uh, uh, that would be thing number one. Thing number two, talk to the teachers. You have access to the teachers. One of the most important things, my sister's right here on the line. She could tell you I was not the best kid in school. So, but
Oh Lord, Kyrissa.
one of the things that helped got me through each grade was my mom was really engaged with
Exactly.
my educators. You know, like if it wasn't for that, I probably would have failed out in seventh grade. But just being 100. But be involved with your teachers. Talk to them. Hey, look, I have this concern. What do you think? Or talk to the principal. Hey, look, I have I have this concern. If your anxiety is that high, this would be the ideal year to be involved with your parent teacher association. I would strongly say. Also, do some research for yourself instead of listening to somebody on your friends list or somebody from around the way who's giving you medical advice that has no medical degree. I would say, hey, look, let me do some research for myself. Let me ask the right questions to the right people that can answer this.
Awesome. So you actually, we can dive into this one here. Maybe this is where Brother Nance can help in. But you spoke about parent involvement. That's key. That's key before, during, after COVID. But more so right now, that's like probably the number one resource. We have to, solution. We have to make sure that we are involved, we're connected, and we're helping, the situation. Meaning, like you just said, we have all the resources at hand. Our teachers there, our staff. I don't know about any parents out there that's listening or will be listening if they come in after, but I am getting a lot of correspondence from the district, from the individual schools. So, email, on Facebook, they are really trying to disseminate that information to us. And we have to make sure that we are in tune, we're connected. So parent involvement is key. Making sure that we connect with a PTA or PTO or whatever you have at your school family council. Make sure that you are connected with them. Make sure you know who that coordinator is or that PTA president is, their contact. When do they meet? I don't know about anyone else, but now I believe we're going to even remain virtual. And if we don't do virtual, we're going to do hybrid. So there's so much opportunity to make sure that we can stay in tune with our phones to know what's going on with these board meetings or these PTA meetings. So Dr. Berkley made a great point about parent involvement. And Brother Nance, you like to speak about that because you're a community school coordinator. Just give us some solutions in that area when it comes to parents.
Just updating yourself on the technology that's being used, and one thing that we have to change is we have to approach this technology like we're making our kids afraid of technology when they're growing up in the technology era. You know what I mean? Like, so we have to understand and teach them how to, the parents, one, educate them on how to navigate and engage with the software and tools we're using to educate our children, because if they're not fearful, then their children won't be fearful with engaging into the education. Also, it helps them when they're trying to help their kids with their schoolwork, if they know how to engage in the software and things that they're using. So I would just say, get a little bit more engaged with the technology. Don't be afraid of the technology. It really is a lot of very simple. If you can navigate Facebook and stuff like that, you can navigate Class Dojo and all the other little Google classrooms and things that they're using this upcoming school year. So I mean, the solution would be just to stay engaged with the technology. Like you said, stay up to date on the announcements and things that are happening in the school. But most importantly, just supporting your children, with letting them know that it will be okay and giving them boundaries and setting them, even if they're at home, setting them on a schedule where they're winning. Allowing your children, even though they're home, I don't care if you're in underwear, just put your school uniform shirt on. You dig what I'm saying? Like, shorts every day, but just create an environment where the learning is for learning and it's not for chilling. You know what I mean? Because if you're in sweat clothes all day, I mean, naturally, as a human being, if I'm in pajamas all day, I'm going to be thinking about sleep. I'm going to be thinking about chilling. I mean, that's just a natural human reaction. So I think just equipping our children and modeling the behavior, especially if you're an adult that has the actual privilege of working from home, just modeling how your behavior is at home. With your work schedule and how you're balancing work, computer time, cooking, all the other things that you do throughout the day, just modeling the behavior and modeling what we want for our children to be. So a solution will be just to, I say all that to say, just stay up to date and engage in the technology, and don't be afraid of the technology, because we shouldn't be teaching, our children should not be afraid of the technology that is shaping their world. I'm an analog baby. They from the digital world. So we're making them afraid of something that's only going to we're moving into AI technology deeper. You know what I mean? So they have to really understand technology ain't going nowhere. So you have to become one with it. Even us older people, I'm speaking for myself when I speak about the parents as far as the technology. I have to, as a parent, stay on top of the technology so I can understand how to engage with my son in his schooling, and he's a senior. So when I think of solutions, I'm always speaking for myself first before I'm speaking to anyone else. So I don't know if the sister Berkley can relate to that as an educator. Like, how helpful is that for parents to be engaged with you virtually in the classroom setting? How does that make your job easier as far as relaying resources and information to families?
Yeah, I love what you said about putting on a uniform. Routine matters. Like, if they're in a routine of not going to sleep at a certain time, but you're expecting them to wake up at a certain time, it's not going to happen. They're going to come to class. They're going to go to sleep. Yeah. If they're used to disrespecting adults, they're going to come to school and disrespect adults. That behavior is not going to change. But if you put children in a routine, they'll understand that routine. It'll be repetitive. It'll be a part of them. And that matters. Having a relationship with parents matters. I noticed the parents that I actually have a great relationship with, and I actually met, we have a good relationship, and I have a good relationship with their child. And I'm more likely to understand them. And I'm more like if you know the parent, you understand the child. But if you don't even know the parent, some of these parents I've never even met. And this is my second year teaching their kids. Because I teach them in 7th grade, then they move on to 8th grade. I don't see them till graduation.
Maybe like, you did such a wonderful job, and oh my God, I love you. My kid talks so much about you.
And that matters. I want to meet you. I want to meet you. But I see the same parents over and over again on parent teacher night. It's the same parents.
Yeah. And
it's not that I'm not happy to see them, but I know your number. I can call you if I have a problem with little Johnny.
But can we build a relationship without the problem?
Of course.
No, that's what I'm saying. We have to get, as parents, I'm just going to speak, from the parents. So parents, if you're hearing this, we don't want to just engage with the teacher or the staff or, whomever, only when our child is having a problem. We want to build that relationship ahead of time, and just, I want to be listen to this. I know she's not on here. She's probably not even with the technology, but my daughter's pre-K teacher, she stays in contact with me, old school. Is this going to be a call? I got her to start texting, but call. And my daughter's going to the 1st grade, and still her pre-K teacher wants to know how her journey is. And so that, like you just said, relationships matter. having that relationship with them, despite there was no issue. She just wants to know how her journey is going. What can she do to help? Be a village. If you didn't know, Kyrissa, I know Kyle knows, but this is restoring the village. And so we want to make sure that we remain a village, not only just in the community with things that pertain to, politics or COVID or whatever, but as families. And you just I love what you just said. I actually wrote it down. Hopefully I said it correctly, but know the parent. To know the parent, know the parent, and then you'll understand the child. And so that was very important, because there are parents who are really going through, and maybe that's the reason why they can't connect. Maybe that's why they cannot have the time to talk. So we won't know, though, until you've actually began to talk to that child, or that parent, should I say. And so that was a good point of like you said, know the parent and understand the child. So that right there, to me, is like, if the child was late every day, or a pattern is going on with behavior, not to say it's all on the parent, but it may be something going on. Maybe that child did not, don't have a home, maybe they're, from here to there. But like you said, to build that relationship and to talk. And we as parents, because I'm on here, I'm just going to speak on the parent part, is that we cannot be afraid to speak to people and ask for help. And to say I'm hurting, or I need help, or I'm struggling. As involved as I am, I did virtual learning for this last school year, and I had moments, because I worked every day, did basically, I would say, homeschool, because she was 6 years old. So I had to make sure she can sit for that many hours, that she understood it, and that in her class, it was 40 on this Zoom. And I was kind of the one to kind of help to initiate these breakouts, where they can put them in these small groups. And then the school board initiated the amplified tutoring. I was so happy to hear that they will continue that amplified tutoring to help students get up to speed. So these are resources, these are solutions. And I feel as though, the district may not see always eye to eye. But as a PCAT member advising the school board and the CEO, I'm grateful to know that there are some things that they are listening to make sure that it's better. So thank you for that. And Brother Nance mentioned about these technology. And I'm going to just play, I don't want to say devil advocate, but I'm going to ask a question and just see how we can make this work. What are some solutions for maybe the parent do not know how to get on these programs?
Well, what we did at my school is we had little workshops and classes.
I would love that.
The thing about it is, you gotta want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like
what happens when?
Hold on one second. At the end of the day, the solution can be there, but you gotta want to participate in it. You know what I mean?
So I'm going to ask this. Even those who wanted to, I saw a lot of people that stepped in that were grandparents. And I'm going to tell you, as much as they wanted to, my daughter's grandmother is amazing. But to sit there and even try to show her, it was still like pulling her hair out. So what are some solutions for those who grandmothers
meeting people where they are and showing grandma some basic things that she can do? Everybody want to feel like they winning. If grandma can just get in the system, then the young person should be able to navigate her through to say, grandma, this is this is that. It got to be a relationship. It got to be a relational thing. Everybody has to play the part. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to know everything that's involved with my son's online learning. But if I know the basics on, okay, his class schedule goes like this, and in order to see what his schedule is doing, I have to log in through this website. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not a very technically savvy person myself, and I'm well educated. You know what I mean? But it's just that, like, again, having the tools and having access to the tools, you know what I mean, is, to me, I think, is and meeting people where they are, like meeting the grandma where she are. Like, people want to have small wins, you know what I mean, in order to, feel like they are engaged. Like, everybody's not going to know every single thing, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But if there's a village of people around them, I'm sure the grandmother ain't just raising the kid by themselves. If they are, then there's other people involved as well. It's usually cousins and this and that. But again, if the child is empowered, that's what I challenge my teachers to do for the first 6 weeks. You know, really build the kids' character and confidence back up towards learning.
Mm-hmm.
The online world, in the online environment, because we spent the first 6 weeks building their character and confidence back up so they can understand how to engage. That's how you avoid the anxiety. We need to talk about all those things on the table. Like, look, first day of class, I don't know, raise your hand if you experience a little bit of anxiety. This is what anxiety looks like. And you know what I mean? Like, really do like some engagement.
Yes,
we can talk
I'm having
about
it now.
and get it over with. Because if not, it becomes an excuse on why you're not doing well. You know what I'm saying? And we're all in the same environment. We all have the same amount of time and the day. You know what I mean? And so again, taking the first 6 weeks, I would definitely not challenge, but would ask a lot of my wonderful teachers out here, because I miss being on the front of the classroom. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed the first 6 weeks of school because it wasn't about no academics. You know what I mean? It was all about setting the tone on how you wanted the year to flow, to get your crew together, to get your tribe together, to get your students to start merging and locking in. Because what's going to be a key, in my opinion, a very key solution is empowering kids to be peer-to-peer tutors, peer-to-peer encouragers, working together on. If they can play the video game online together, they can definitely get together and do their work online together. But it has to be made, it has to be shown, it has to be encouraged, it has to be taught. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if y'all can play 2K, whatever,
Yeah.
court, and got all your homeboys, and I mean, y'all know how to work technology. It was to the point at my school, we was actually trying to figure out how we can even get the Google Classrooms on their gaming system, since they already on the gaming systems. You know what I mean? But you still can't monitor it. So I just, you know, I say all that to say, just like, I lost my train of thought, Angie, but you know what I mean.
You always do.
No,
Kyle, you remember you did that last week.
I don't think it is as hard as we're, you know, I know it's challenging, but I think if we take, if we look at it like this is something new to everyone.
No, yeah, I agree.
It's something new to everyone. No one has the answers, but we all have to at least try. You know what I mean? And but we cannot throw stones or excuses in the way. That's why I said the first day, let's talk about the things that everybody been talking about. How you feel about COVID? Have you felt depressed during this time? Let's have some conversations.
So I definitely believe. Yeah, I definitely believe conversations should be had, and it starts similar to this. I would love to just even continue it throughout the period of the school year. I will agree that it should not be, you know, excuses, but I think even in your comparison, I still have to kind of nudge to say having a teenager versus having someone that's 5 or 6 is still a difference, because you are solely he or she depends on that adult or that someone.
Teenager. I think it's worse for parents that got teenagers.
Well,
I think it's worse. Personally, I think it's worse.
Yeah, and it could possibly be. And maybe Kyrissa can talk. I mean, I know she has the 7th and 8th graders. Like I said, to me it was different because you have to teach a 5-year-old, especially if that's not the environment they were in or knew anything about technology. And I can understand maybe even with the teenagers, making sure that they stay focused. And if you do step away, make sure they do their job. But I think it's both ends, you know, and I don't think it's really like definitely some solutions that I see there. But I think that we just need to make sure that we're still kind of not just saying, hey, let's not make excuses, because I don't think it was even an excuse, definitely not on my end. But it still was like, how do we do that for the 5-year-old? And how do we do that for the 13, 14-year-old?
Well, what we did with the 5-year-old is we put our kids on iPads, familiar technology that they used to. We didn't put them on Chromebooks. We gave each grade level had a different set of technology that they used. Our higher level kids, they had the Chromebook touchpads. The little kids in kindergarten, they had iPads.
Yeah, so I will agree that in the beginning, that's how they launched it out. It was all Chrome, and then they turned it. I was like, look, it's easier for the iPad, so they allow the smaller children to use the iPads. That was not initially the case. It took from people to kind of like say this is not working. And as you stated, it was all new. So Kyrissa, if you can speak about, I guess, if you just want to have the feedback on this, but what are some things that you have seen? Because I know you were virtual. Now you're getting ready to go in the classroom. What are some things you can kind of either utilize from what you learned virtually, or something you see that can improve to make sure that they're focused and that they're successful this school year?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on the iPads and the Chromebooks real quick.
Oh, sure.
Chromebooks are way cheaper than iPads.
Yeah.
They're easier to fix when they're broken.
Facts.
So it's easier for us to buy a Chromebook than an iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Just to repair, my nieces have, what is it that they have, Kyle? It's not an iPad.
They have the Amazon, whatever the tablet that Amazon has.
Oh, is it a Fire?
My youngest has hers messed up because they pour bubble solution on it.
Exactly. Okay. To fix the screen on there, I called, and this was cheaper. It was $100.
Yeah.
Just to fix the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to also keep that in mind when you're giving a 5-year-old an iPad that the parent didn't purchase.
Yeah.
So the parent is not going to, really take care of it sometimes like it's theirs.
Right.
And neither is the child because they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We also had some problems with, I'm going over my dad's house this weekend. My mom's not going to let me take the iPad. This is my dad's week.
Yeah.
And that was another problem. So it's cheaper to do the Chromebook. And you said, let's not make excuses about things. The children who did well in person did well online.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. And you know who else did well online? The introverts, the quiet kids.
And that's also who excels.
Nobody talking to them that don't really care. The ones that would come to school looking, they were thriving. They were thriving.
Yes.
It was the kids that be the loud ones, the ones that be, they struggled. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because they was home and they got to live in reality that no one really cares.
Exactly.
No disrespect intended, but it's facts.
A lot of my IEP students and 504 students did well. Believe it or not, like they can say what they want to say on the news, on Project Baltimore, throw shade.
Throw the shade, please.
They did well.
That's what I'm saying. Like they try to lump kids in, but I know a lot of children that did. I know a lot of kids that were thrive. They was like, Mr. Nance, I don't want to go back to school.
Exactly.
Like I like virtual learning. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because they can move at their own pace, they could go ahead. They can, you know what I mean? They gave them more time to really discover the things they really want to do in their real life. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, again, I think another solution is just really showing our children and showing our families how really this can really be a great thing for our children if they really, 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 truly took the time to really engage with the learning. Like, I wish I could go online virtually, halfway school, halfway out. I would have loved that. I ain't even gonna lie. I would have loved it. You know what I mean? But I'm glad you brought that up, sister, because a lot of people thought the IEP kids struggled. A lot of people thought a lot of IEP kids got more support away from school than they got in the school buildings. There were so many people calling and checking in, and social workers and organizations, and you know what I mean? Like parents getting support. So I think the people that wanted support or received the support and utilized the support properly were the one that empowered and pushed through. And like I said, excuses were the wrong word. It's just, yes. I don't think because I don't, like I said, it was new to everybody. And I don't want anyone to think that, everybody education level is different. Everybody's environment is different. Everybody, how we learn and view things is different. So I don't want to take it as an excuse. I'm just saying that, we have to at some point put ourselves in positions of power. You know what I'm saying? We have to want to, this is a time where another solution is teaching our parents how to advocate for their children as well as advocate for themselves. You know what I mean? And teaching their children to advocate for themselves, because this is the time where children can really have their voices heard. You know what I mean? And really have their voice, because they're looking to the children for the solutions, not the adults sitting up in cubicles that ain't taught in 20, 30 years in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? That's totally disconnected. They need to be talking to teachers like you, brothers like your brother. You know what I mean? People like me. people that are actually on the ground working with families, working with kids, hearing what they're saying is working, hearing what they're saying is not working. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, just think about all of the different math programs we have that come through school systems. We don't never give it a chance to fester or get the system worked out, or the teachers get used to it, then they got to switch to something else. That's why the teacher turnaround is so high, because they tired of new programs every other year. I got to learn a whole new program to teach, and I've been planning new lessons because I got good at the stuff you had me getting good at last year. You know what I'm saying? And my sister nodding because she can relate. It's a real thing. You know what I mean? So I just want solutions. Just to go back to solutions, just again, advocating for your learning, man, and making learning important again. You know what I mean? Let's make learning great again. Like they said, let's make America great again. Let's make learning great again. Learning is not just about what you learn in the books. You know what I mean? It's those life skills that's going to power our kids and our children and our families through this pandemic. These new life skills, these new adjusted life skills that we need to make sure that we're not getting lost in the sauce. You know, I didn't mean to talk so much, but that was
good. That's okay. Kyrissa, I don't know if you were finished talking about.
No, I like what he said about life skills. One major thing I dislike is like grades. We need to take grades out. Shouldn't be a first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. It needs to be levels. If you didn't pass the first level, you can't go on to the second level. If you don't know your numbers, how are you adding them together? How are you subtracting them? But we keep going on. We need to stop that. Take the grades out, focus on levels. You can't even do that in a video game. I can't jump to level 3 just because I want to be on there.
Facts.
If I'm playing Mario, I got to defeat the mushroom before I go save the princess.
Facts. You better talk it.
You are his. Yes.
You better talk it.
Kyle and Kyrissa.
You better talk
That's
it.
how he talk.
You better talk it. But you see how simple. But you see how that simple example that you used. How many people will be able to relate to that? A lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I so agree with you on that. Like, I mean, and you know what? Since we sticking on solutions, if you know that your children are a little bit behind or a little bit lagging, you know, it's so many online tools to engage them, to get them caught up. You know what I mean? That I think that should be a priority. Even if schools or grants need to be written for them to be able to have 1 year subscriptions or whatever, you know, until their kid get leveled up, because it won't even allow, some of those online platforms won't even allow you to move forward unless you have mastery. You know what I'm saying? And they give you when you get things wrong, they break it down and show you different solutions and how to get there, and then they give you the same problem again. And a lot of these things are they're self-paced ones. You know what I mean? And I think, just like you said, my sister, like when you kids leveling up and you got something to achieve, but if you just getting passed along, it's like, well, yo, I can get this in the next grade. But then the teacher thinking you got it from the last teacher, and ain't no teacher got time to be playing catch up because they trying to. It's a lot of, you know, my mother got out of teaching because she said it's about being too much paperwork, and they forgot about the kids, and it was about paperwork. You know what I mean? And that was why I got out the classroom. I was like, yo, my kids are ongoing. I get them in the beginning of the year, they below grade level. When I finish with them, they above grade level. And you want me to do a report? I'm not worried about no report. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm worried about them kids feeling like, yeah, I'm smart now. Somebody told me I'm great. Somebody said I can do it. Yeah, you may have told me all the other grades. I didn't know math. I didn't know science. I don't know nothing. But this man right here said, yo, I am the HNIC or the H woman IC or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the one. You know what I mean? And so I think that right there, man, is one of the biggest solutions we can do, is really just empowering our kids, let them know they can do it, man. Like, show them the history. Like, I told you, Dr. Berkley, yo, I'm going to get with you, bro, and I'm going to gather all the smart people that I know, bro, with all these degrees and all that, yo, and we're going to build our own online learning tool, bro. Like, I don't understand, like, why. That's one of the biggest solutions. Like, why can't all the smart people get organized and create something and start waiting for the people to create it for us? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to do.
I'm all about building. Everybody on this chat right here know how I am. I'm all about building. I'm a builder. Especially building our people.
Yeah, yo, I'm a building, yo. Like, I'm not with the, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like we got so many smart Black educators in Baltimore, man. Like, Baltimore City got some of the strongest educators in the world. To be honest with you, I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like I done work with a lot of dynamic teachers, black, white, cream, green, indifferent, whatever. You know what I mean? And it is some dynamic teachers in Baltimore City. You know what I
And they
mean?
engaged. You know what's crazy? I don't mean to cut you off, brother.
No,
Nance.
you good.
You know I love you, man.
No, you
Yo,
good.
to this day, you know I'm still cool with my principal from high school.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Like my one of my teachers, Kevin Carr, one of my mentors. To this day, we still like this. You know, like it's crazy. Like high school, you talked earlier about relationships, and it's crazy how Baltimore City, our educators, they pour so much into us, and they follow us even through this day and time.
Yeah.
One of my educators, First Sergeant Akers, you know, every time I talk to one of my friends from high school, they, hey, y'all heard from him? How he doing? Because we haven't heard from him in a while, and that's always the topic of every conversation. You know why? Because of the impact he had on everybody. I
Yeah.
don't think you could get that kind of relationship anywhere else but Baltimore, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
one of
I
the
got
best schools
kids
in the world.
I got kids to this day during this pandemic that were calling me. My kids are in high school, 11th and 12th grade, about to go to college. Some of them in college. And it just makes me feel good as an educator. You know how when you see somebody when they're in the 5th or 6th grade and you can see their projection, you're like, yo, I know what you're going to be special, boy or girl. You know what I mean? And then when you see them, and every time I see them, I tell them that I say, I saw that in you when you were young. You know what I mean? And it just makes me feel good to see that you answered your calling. You know what I mean? Because another solution we have to do, we have to let kids know it's okay to be smart. It's cool to be smart.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not okay to be dumb. You know what I mean? Because that's where bullying and stuff come in at. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I had the best of both worlds. I went to city schools and county schools. When I was in the city, it was like me being smart was all right. When I went to county, it was the opposite. It was like I was like, being smart wasn't cool back when I was in high school. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't the cool thing. Like if you wasn't the jock or the whatever, that wasn't the wave. You know what I mean? But I always tell people when I tell my students, it's like, it ain't how you start the race. You know what I mean? It's how you finish it. It ain't about what people say about you. The people that you think are not the weirdos and all that, they're going to be the ones hiring you in 10 years. They're going to be the ones shining in like diamonds. You know what I mean? So I think we just encourage love, encourage understanding, encourage peace moving into this new year. Remember that we all are part of this puzzle that work. We cannot do it without the teachers. The teachers can't do it without the parents. The parents can't do it without, you know what I mean? All of us work together. You know what I mean? Because if we're not working together, we don't have one voice, one school, one community. You know what I mean? And that's what we need to make sure that all schools are coming back in. I need my teachers to hear this very clearly. You know what I mean? Yo, check your personal feelings at the door. You know what I mean? Like leave your personal feelings at the door. You know what I mean? Your opinions about the vaccine and all that, leave all that stuff at the door. Your job is there to not bring anxiety to kids, and because we are their first example. So if you are stressed out, that energy is transferring to them kids. You know what I mean? So I challenge and I ask all of my educators, work on your self-care before you come back into the school year. Work on the things that you're going to do to maintain your self-care during the school year, because you know it's going to be ebbs and flows because we're working with Baltimore City. Nothing is ever what it appears to be. So you can't get mad about things you already know that's going to happen.
Kyrissa's like,
how you going to get mad about something you already predict could possibly happen, and you get mad, like, and you get all bent out of shape with something that you know it's a possibility is going to happen. So I mean, I kind of change the policy in the middle of the school year. It's cool. You know what I mean? But if I stand up there and I'm complaining and that stuff, I really have watched teachers' energy, demeanors really pour onto their kids. Like, if you are stressed out, your kid's going to be stressed out. Your student's going to be stressed out. Am I lying, Miss Berkley?
No, that's true.
So I just want my teachers to come back, get some rest this week. You know what I mean? Go into PD, wanting to become one tribe again because we ain't seeing each other. You know what I mean? And, you know, let's just remember why we do this work. We don't do this work for no money. You know what I mean? Like, we do this work to shape young lives. And if we can keep that on the forefront of everything, this pandemic will be, I'm not going to say the pandemic won't control us anymore. We'll be able to control the narrative with at least the education part that we can control. So all my teachers, all my students, all my family, all my kids, control what you can control in your little small square of the world, and do that at the best, at the greatest level that you can. And that's the Brother Nance solution.
Uh-oh. Well, Brother Nance, he dropped some jewels, basically saying that we need to be one community and definitely working on our self-care. Find a day or find something that's going to kind of help you be less stressed out. And I think Dr. Berkley.
And parents, don't take your attitude out on my teachers. Don't be cussing.
I was gonna say, I know you said the teacher is the first. I would say the parent.
My teachers, yeah, be patient.
Yeah, so home. So starting at home into the schools. But we need to have that self-care and being one community. I know I usually tell people what we're talking about, but we've kind of just been going. We got like 10 minutes. But I wanted to just say, if anyone's tuning in, we are here to talk about the schools reopening and, within a week. But we wanted to provide solutions. So we have Dr. Kyle Berkley, who is a mental health therapist, and we have Ms. Kyrissa Berkley. Yes, they are brother sisters. And they are out here doing a great thing for our youth and the community. Brother Nance.
I got a good one just now.
Listen, if he was next to me, I would pinch him.
It was funny too. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then Brother Nance, he works with the school system as well. And then I'm a parent. So I love the fact that we're all here giving a perspective and some solutions. And to let you all know, and parents that are listening, that you're not alone. Teachers, you are not alone. And so, again, we have to be one community. It is not going to be, if it is flawless, by all means, hats off. But even if we don't, it's going to be a roller coaster. We're going to have some changes. And what we have to do is make sure that we're being one community and that we're connected to one another.
I got another solution. Save your tennis shoe money and school clothes money. They don't need it. Spend that money on some technology and a tutor. That's a solution. Don't buy them J's. They don't need them J's. They don't need them.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Yo, buy your kids some technology. Don't depend on the school technology. Buy the subscriptions that you need to level your kids up. You don't want no cute or handsome dummy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to be living in your basement talking about, I want some Jordans. You know what I mean? Like, no, please do not invest your money into school clothes. Invest into technology. Invest in
we got your solution.
Taking that money and then you're investing into an online course for yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to let our children know what we are in a war right now. And you can't dress cute to be in no war.
And you know what else? Take time to talk to your kids.
Yes.
Like, so for a whole year, it's been over a year now. We've been dealing with a pandemic, right? And we have kids 5 years old and up who've lived through this pandemic, right? So take time to talk to these kids. Brother Nash, you touched on this briefly before jumping into another subject earlier. But you got fear of COVID, this pandemic and isolation, right? And you got kids in all different grades, starting all the way down to kindergarten, first grade. Talk to these kids about what they experience, how they see the same world that you see it. They might not see it in the whole totality that you see it, but they know that they've been isolated, haven't been able to go to the playground for a few months, haven't been able to go to certain places, having to wear masks everywhere they go now. They're just distancing. Sometimes they can't go to a movie theater. Paw Patrol just came out, the movie theater, the movie for that. So some parents are scared to take the kids to the movie theater. Some movie theaters have restrictions. Some movie theaters didn't open up. There's questions. Talk to your kids about that. Yes, talk to your kids about those feelings.
Yeah, so they can learn how to process it. That was a great point, Dr. Berkley, because
that's a great point.
That's why I was saying, like, we need to spend some time the first week of school just having conversations. Like, let's not dive straight in like rules and back to straight learning. Like, no, like, we need some time for these kids to decompress. You know what I mean? Like, and do some team building activities and some re-engaging. Like, we need to really, because even for our teachers need that opportunity to reconnect physically with their kids. And because a lot of teachers going to be skeptical on hugging their kids. That's a natural thing that teachers do. You got to be like, you know what I mean? Boy, we got the mask. You know what I mean? So it's a whole adjustment, like you said, Dr. Berkley. You don't want nobody to make no child to feel like you're treating them funny or anything if you're talking about everything in the beginning. Like, you know what I mean? Let's talk about our classroom norms so everybody can feel comfortable in the classroom. You know what I mean? And we create it together. You know what I mean? So I love the fact that you said that, because that's what we're going to do at my school. Like, I'm doing my first parent engagement is a sneaker social. So we're going to have a sneaker social. We're coming out there, just the vibe, talk. We're not talking about no budgets. We're not talking about no academia, none of that. We're talking about how you feeling, how you living, how do you want to live moving forward? You know what I mean? What do you want our school climate and culture to feel like? You know what I mean? Because every meeting, we need to start having more relaxed environments. And because I have a lot of young parents at my school. So the young parents, they don't care about pizza and all that. Like, we saying, come to a sneaker ball where you can put on some sneakers and stunt, and my kids, you know what I mean? And we got fake mimosas, and, you know what I mean? Really, no, you're meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we're talking about engagement in community, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not in Beverly Hills, so my parents don't want cheese and crackers. You know what I mean? My parents want something else. You know what I mean? Like, so I love that you said that, Dr. Berkley, because I think that is for everybody, teachers, executive staff, everyone, parents, we all need to be talking to each other, with each other, and not at each other. So I challenge us not to talk at each other this year, because our teachers, I love them. They're working harder. We're working harder than we did when we was in the building.
And not getting paid your worth.
Yeah, we're not nowhere near.
Look, Kyrissa.
We're working almost 12 hours a day, going from 6 hours to 12 hours.
I think I work more from home, so many hours. But Kyrissa, let me just say this to you.
Everyone working more from home because
Kyrissa, let me ask this question of you, because we don't have much time. What are some things now? You know, Brother Nance mentioned about how to connect to the parents, I would say. But then, you know, your brother says about adjustments. And I want to kind of throw this question to you. There's going to be some adjustments, meaning some schools are not allowing visitors in. How are you going to engage, you per se, or just in general, what would be your perspective? But how can teachers still engage with parents if that environment is going to be different, that look, the way it used to be, even if it was like you can come in and build anytime. Now it's like we're going to be minimizing, at least some of the schools I've heard of, they're minimizing how many can come in the building, so that is changing. So how would you work on, I guess, keeping that engagement still in this pandemic or this, situation that we're in, where we still have to make sure that we're social distancing, and, what are some key points there?
We have Class Dojo to connect with parents. We have I have a Google number. I share that with them. My school, the parents, they were allowed to come in.
Okay, so
they weren't allowed to pass the threshold of the door, but they could look in the classroom. I've had parents come and they can come.
So they can look at your classroom, but they cannot come into the classroom.
They can't come in.
Okay.
They can.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, there are some schools that are not allowing the parents to come in at all in the building. So it's like a drop your child off, let them walk to the class, and then some, as you just stated,
you got to take advantage of
some, as you stated, yes, real quick. So some, as you stated, are just saying we're going to go to the door. And for me, having a small child, and even with Dojo, I mean, I don't want to like really interact that way. I want to have that relationship, but I also want to be mindful. So it was kind of good to hear that they can at least come to the door to see and have some of that.
That's for safety reasons.
Yeah.
But Angie, can I give you some pushback?
You can give me pushback if you want. You got 2 minutes.
All right, so pushback. So I understand that you want to have direct engagement in this, that, and the third, but what I want was, and it's not what I want. It's what I was kind of saying is that things are going to be changing, and we're talking about adjustments. So what I'm used to going in, that is not going to be no more. So I'm asking what are some things. Right. So what I'm saying is to make an adjustment, even though you don't like Class Dojo, Class Dojo is actually a really amazing tool to get really kind of up to date on spot minute time on what's actually going on if it's being used properly by the teacher who was using it. So I'm saying, although that may not be something that you like, but maybe
never said what I didn't like. I said, what are some solutions to that when we have been so accustomed to being that interaction face to face. So that's what I said.
Well, I think, the reason why they had to cut it out for the most part and limited visitors is because even down to the summer, when I was teaching summer school, the parents who walked the students up to the door didn't have on a mask. So just to eliminate all that, we're just nobody can come in the building.
Yes.
Every teacher had a mask on outside. That. I mean, so to eliminate the arguing, to eliminate all that, you can't come in the building. Right. But did I see parents in the building? Yeah, I think the parents who came, the active parent who was coming in the building before was coming in the building after.
Right.
I mean, so
I know I'm going to be one that's.
I mean, even taking advantage, like I said, taking advantage of the morning drop off, the afternoon pickup.
Talking to the teacher there because we'll be there.
Right there, like I mean, that's the best time. Any information that you want to get off, you know what I mean. I think that's a perfect time. I mean, you know, but I think solutions. You know, we're always going to be coming up with solutions. You know, and as long as we stay in a solution approach mindset for this school year, which is unknown for us all. You know what I mean? We don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 months. They talking about shutting us down again. They don't know. You know, it's just we don't know. So I would just say that one thing we should all do, just be prepared.
Take it one day at a time.
Yeah, be prepared and just trust the process. You know what I mean? And don't let it be as overwhelming. It's like I can compare it to sort of like, no, I ain't even gonna do that because I don't want to offend nobody. But
yeah, don't do it, please.
You know, they say in Islam, they say think about this thing you're gonna say 3 times before you say it. The third time was like, nah, bro, that's not a good one. But anyway, but I would just say that, man, we just need to just trust the process, understand that, we're all in this together. We need the teachers, we need our students to feel like they can do it, and we need our parents to be encouraged as well. So, if you are a school leader, you are a parent, and if you're looking at Restoring the Village Radio, please just know that this is a process. This is not a time for us to be attacking one another. It's not a time for us to be attacking the system, but it is a time for us to be demanding what we want out of the system, but not to be attacking the system because they don't know what the heck they're doing either. You know what I'm saying? So this is like all of us trying to get to heaven. You know what I mean? We don't know if there's a real thing or something that's made up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we just need to really just stay the course, trust the process, and know that everything's going to be all right. Our kids will be all right. Children are survivors. And we just have to, again, make sure that we're protecting our peace and balancing ourselves so we don't pass our adult anxiety and our adult problems onto our children. Because a lot of our children are walking around with the problems of adults as 5 and 8 and 10-year-olds. Am I lying, Dr. Berkley? Am I lying?
Not at all.
These kids got adult problems. I ain't had to worry about stuff like
they got adult problems.
No, for real. I ain't had to worry about some of the stuff I hear these kids tell me. I didn't have to worry about that when I was a child.
It's also driven by the environment and the media. I think media pushes fear and everything else. So it's a whole multitude. It was things that we didn't see when we grew up because it just wasn't available. Things that wasn't able to be on the radio. Now it's like, you can say whatever you want now. Kyrissa, because we have, I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's what I was saying, talking and listening to our kids, even all the way down to our 5-year-olds. Just talking and listening to how they see the world.
My child.
Look, we're in a odd time. I know we're coming up on time. My bad, Ange.
I was just gonna close. Not close. I'm trying to give y'all
Let the brother talk, Angie. Let the brother talk.
But we're in an awkward time for real. Like we're in an awkward time with education, with everything in the world. And I'm not sure if anybody ever read the book, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed. But in that book, they talk about how education is a banking system. You put in to get tested, to get stuff out. We're in an awkward time where now we kind of challenge the banking system and we could do a little bit more with. Now we have the opportunity to learn more about computers and Zoom and Classroom and Dojo, and not only the students learning, but the teacher, but the parents are learning and the teachers. which means now we're able to learn a skill that's going to go further past the 12 years of school. So it's kind of cool being in that place now where it's like this is uncharted territory and uncharted territory that we could build on and making it something more beautiful than what we had in the past.
Yeah.
You hear that doctor talk? You hear that doctor talk? He broke it down doctor books, like it's a doctor style book.
Well, I'm glad he broke it down that way versus what he told me earlier.
You gotta know people to get the doctors on Dr. Berkley in the building.
Yes, listen, Dr. Kyle Berkley, you might have to be an official third co-host here. But what I was going to say is that we are down to the wire, unfortunately. We will probably come back to even talk about the schools, maybe even highlight how's your first day of school, and possibly even have a member of PCAP or someone from the district office that can help as well, going forward, maybe next week to kind of continue since the first day will be Monday. What I want to do in this last minute or two, I'll say 2 minutes because I'll give both of you a minute. Kyrissa, I would like for you, if there's anything that you have to say, final comment, or just ways to, I don't know if you want to give someone a resource, a link, whatever, just a 1 minute to talk about, all that we talked about here, or just to kind of, juice it up to what we had discussed today.
No, like I was telling my brother earlier, I would love to come back and talk about Project Baltimore.
Yes.
And I believe a lot of our parents listen to that because I watch it. And it's sad because we don't have a Project Anne Arundel County, Project Harford County, but we have a Project Baltimore. And I'm
down with that. I like to fight the system, sister. I love it. That's my type of stuff.
And that's right. That's one thing that I don't like. I don't like. And even they talk about how they highlight positive things. And the one positive thing that they did highlight was a little girl who wrote a book about being bullied.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, you went from
her mother, yeah.
That's still a negative because she was being bullied. So that's one thing you can't listen to everything that is being said about schools because they don't highlight the positive. We have a lot of positive numbers that we're looking at. Even today at my school, we looked at positive numbers, but that's never on TV.
Yes.
So we have students who's getting accepted to great schools. That's not on Project Baltimore. Some things are not on Project Baltimore.
We're going to be on Restore the Village Radio. We're going to start highlighting. We're going to do our own Project Baltimore.
Yes.
RTV style. Radio
RTV project. Well, thank you, Kyrissa, for being our guest. I love your background. I can't see what the top says, but it does say dream, believe, and blessed. So I thank you so much for being a blessing to our young people in the community and in your school. I know you didn't put the school out, but I want to thank you.
Classroom? Was that your virtual classroom background?
Yeah.
And
so again,
I guarantee.
So again,
yes,
thank you for being our guest. And Kyle, I would like to give you a minute to say what you have to say, and then we do have to kind of close. Thank you, Diamond K, for being a great producer and being patient with us.
Thank you, Diamond K. I'm gonna be real quick. This is going out to all my teachers, every last one of you teachers, guidance counselors, everybody who impacts a child's life inside the school. Take time for self-care. This is going to be a rough school year, even though last year was a rough school year. This year is going to be different. It's going to be rough we don't know what's going to happen with moment to moment with variant D, variant F, variant Q. We don't know. I don't know what's going to happen when we get to variant Omega, but like definitely
in a whole nother world.
Right. But definitely take time for self-care. I don't care if you have to go to the spa, the beach, read a book, work out, do something at least once a month to pour into you. Meditate, something. Just do something at least once a month. I try to say at least once a week, but realistically, you have your life going on outside of school, right? So at least once a month, do something to pour into you because you're needed, you're valued, and I hate to say it, but you're underappreciated. But we do appreciate you. So definitely take time to pour into you at least once a month.
Oh, Dr. Berkley, you got Angie emotional.
Yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Some of the takeaways, I'm gonna let you, Brother Nance, ended. But some takeaways that I have is, please, parents, please make sure that you get involved this school year. If there are some projects or resources or ideas that you have, because I know so much have happened in this particular year, you guys have turned into entrepreneurs. So can we do that for our babies? Can we, if there is a workshop that we can come up with, if there is a fundraiser or whatever you can do to support the school, make sure we do that. Again, that know the parent, understand the child. We have to make sure we connect with the teachers and get to know them and let them know us. And that way we'll stay connected. We'll be one community, as Brother Nance said. And I would just have to piggyback off of Kyle and just say, self-care is so important. Like for me, sometimes I just unplug completely. Some people will be like, you didn't see my message? I sure did. And so we have to make sure we have that balance. And sometimes we forget ourselves, like you just said, unappreciative. And we are so much more. Like, I don't want the stress of life to kill us. So we have to make sure we take it one day at a time, make sure we don't stress out about it. Understand, and I hate to say this plug, but understand that nothing's in stone. If your child is not succeeding in a particular school, you take them out. If your child is not doing well in a certain thing, you get them help. My thing is to say, it's not always just this is plan A and that's no other way to be. Even in a marriage, like that's just it, a relationship. Understand that you control the narrative, not a Project Baltimore, right, Kyrissa? Not anyone but you. So that is my thing to everyone. And I'm not saying take them out of school. I'm just saying, I'm saying make sure you take the proper protocols to talk to the teachers. Don't listen, as Dr. Berkley say, don't listen to your friends. Don't listen to CNN and the mainstream media and Fox 45 and Project Baltimore and the guy down the street. Go with your heart, do your own research, and make sure that you put you first. And reach out to your village. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to turn it over to Brother Nance if he has anything to say. If otherwise, he's going to let us come out.
Yeah, I was just going to say, quiet the noise in your mind. You know what I mean? Understand that this is a whole journey. You know what I mean? And do not allow fear to kill you. You know what I mean? Allow the unknown to power you through, like how we allow the unknown to guide us when we have troubled waters. And I'm talking about the Most High. So just stay connected with yourself. Tap into your divine energy. You know what I mean? And control what you can control. Worry about your controllables. Don't worry about things you can't control. Control your controllables. Peace and power to the people. Storm the Village Radio. Love y'all.
Peace.
Power up. You already know.